Yeah. The first one, I was asked, my first year as a SAM, and I was also our Boys Town coach. So I was also asked to coach teachers on their instructional strategies around dealing with behaviors. And I was too zealous, too eager. I had a brand new teacher. She was older than me. And so I had been there longer, so I had that confidence. And I felt like I could come in and just say, here's what you're doing, and it's not this, do this. And that's how I coached, and it was not effective. And at the time, I wasn't seeing why it wasn't effective. The following year, when she hadn't made progress, I was able to look back and be like, oh, that's why that wasn't effective. She didn't trust me. She didn't know me. She didn't like me because I was younger than her, coming and telling her what to do. Sure. I get it. And I did. I talked with her afterwards, and I'm like, I am sorry. I know that I came in, and I know I honestly could have done a better job coaching. I was young, I was excited, and I came in and told you what to do, and you clearly have talents of your own, and I should have tried to work with those to meet, what her system was, but I did not handle that well, and I want you to know that I acknowledge that was my part in it. So I think that did.
What was her response?
She said she was grateful. She was, I think it kind of smoothed it over. I think it gave her kind of a relief off of her shoulders, because I think she was feeling bad that she wasn't meeting the expectations of implementing this system. So I was able to take some weight off of her shoulders. It wasn't you. I could have done, and I should have done a much better job coaching. So I think there was some relief there.
Good. How have you changed in the last couple of years, Christy?
Extraordinarily. A lot. Big change over my times of being hired as a SAM to ending as a SAM. A lot of it was that telling people what to do, which there were appropriate times for it. New hires, a lot of the trainings I did, it was me telling you what to do. But I came into those stumbling blocks where I took it where it was areas where I shouldn't have, and I should have coached more than tell. I felt as though I really grew in that aspect over my time as a SAM. I also think the collaboration. When I started off as a SAM, it was a big turnover in our school, and people didn't know what to do. And I did, and I said, here's what we're doing. But as people learned and grew, I was able to learn and grow with them on how to take the burden off myself to always give the answer, and to get the group to collaborate on the answer. So I think I really did grow in that aspect. Like the IEP meeting I talked about that went really well, where I got everyone's input. Prior to that, my IEP meetings were, here's the problem, here's what we're gonna do, right? And everyone's like, oh, sounds good. That's how it was. And so I really have grown in my ability to not only recognize that my ideas are not nearly as good as a group's ideas, but also in how to ask the questions and get people to buy in and get them to feel like, I'm not just asking you to get you to talk, I really do care about what you have to say. It's going to make it better. So those two areas for sure throughout my time as a SAM, but definitely have grown drastically this year from moving from a SAM role to a consultant role. Just primarily in that more deeply understanding of relationships. And I did think of them as fluffy and superficial and keep it focused on the work. And now I'm realizing, like, wow, how important those are. The work can't get done. The work I'm doing can't get done. Now, if you put me in a classroom, I can still teach without building those relationships with others. But the work of a consultant, the work of an instructional leader, that can't be done without it. So that, I would say, is something I've grown just tremendously on over the past year.
Okay.
You grew up in Clear Lake. What took you to Boston University?
I'm getting out of Iowa and never coming back. I'm 18 and I know everything. That's what took me to Boston.
How long were you in Boston?
2 years.
2 years.
And then I miss Iowa. I want to see fields for miles and miles. I really did. I came home and I was I'm like, look I can see that tree this big. You just couldn't see that in the city or even outside with all the hills. And yeah, definitely.
But that experience was probably immeasurable.
Oh my goodness, invaluable.
To take you out of your comfort zone.
Yep.
I tell you, driving in Boston will take you out of your comfort zone.
No kidding.
Honest to guys.
Rented a car once and then we'll never do that again. That was terrible. So.
Otherwise, did you not drive when you were out there?
No, all public transportation.
Yeah.
Taking the subway, walking.
Yeah, that your About Me page, that opening page, that was nice. That was
Yeah.
neat. That was neat. Good background.
Oh, guys.
You can ask her your really good question about evaluation. You should.
About. Give me a little more of a hint.
Teacher shouldn't be in the classroom.
Oh, well, I've got that.
Yeah, I was
In
gonna
fact,
say.
that's my list.
Yeah.
But it's something I've asked here before. I'll see if you have the same answer.
Okay.
In your years of experience, have you ever known of a teacher that ought not to be in the classroom?
Yes.
Are they still there?
Not in the school.
Oh, really?
Someone else hired them and didn't do any
Oh, but
background
somebody
calls.
else hired them. Okay.
Yeah. No reference checks, so.
Okay. Describe that person.
Surprisingly, love of children, good relationship with children. And I guess maybe that's not that she shouldn't be in the classroom, but it was more along the lines that we talked about. Wasn't buying into the mission, wasn't supporting the school, wasn't supporting a positive climate and culture, was toxic, was one of those that was talking behind backs, stirring the pot,
Right.
multiple occasions. Everything would always come back to this one person, and it was halting the school's growth. When the pot was being stirred, when it was teachers versus leadership, and teachers versus teachers, and teachers versus paras, and paras versus interventionists, and it was ugly, and it always stemmed back to one person.
Really? Yeah.
And so it wasn't necessarily that it was bad for the kids, but it ultimately became bad for the kids
Sure.
because the school
Sure.
was not moving
The
where it
whole
needed to be.
environment,
Yeah,
yeah.
and so therefore, I don't know that she should never be in a classroom, but if she could, I think there was probably some personal issues going along as well. If that aspect of her life and that, if that changed, and I think it could have, then I think that she would have the ability to certainly love and care for kids and could learn the teaching aspects, but it was not after the coaching. and
Independent
everything.
contractor.
Yep, very much so. Yeah, and it was, yeah, my principal tried a lot of coaching and it just was not coming around, so.
So you said she has moved on to another district? Okay, was that by her own accord?
I think she saw what was coming
Okay.
and decided to.
So somebody was gonna
Resign.
hold her accountable.
She was in the process of being held accountable. She was on that tier 3 plan, and it was coming up to hey, we need to have a meeting and talk about how this is not working, and probably these are our next steps. And at that point, then she was choosing to resign.
As a teacher, were you, are you a member of the Teachers Association? Why not?
I've seen the Teachers Association work diligently to keep teachers like that teaching. And I don't want to put my money towards that. So I never have.
True. I think I probably shared with you when we were talking about this, about our situation in Minnesota, where we had taken the action, finding a principal, had built a wonderful documented case of an ineffective teacher. Out of about 1,500 teachers, this would have been ranked as 1,500 to 1. And so I took that recommendation to the board. They agreed. We terminated the contract. The Teachers Association challenged us. It went all the way to the Minnesota Supreme Court. And the Supreme Court held unanimously in our favor.
Oh, nice.
Well, we'd say, yeah, it's nice. The cost in terms of dollars, the cost in terms of that principal's time away from the positive things going on in the school, you had to look back and say, I wonder about the cost.
Well, yeah, and that's why,
Yeah.
usually the response to the question that Dr. Finch asked about, is that teacher still in the classroom? Usually the answer is yes.
Usually,
And
Yeah.
the next
It's
question,
usually yes.
and the
Why?
next question is why,
Yep.
which sometimes comes down to
And
what you
so
just
I'm
said.
very blessed that I had an administrator, a mentor, who showed me how
Right.
and why you document everything.
Yes.
And I
Yes.
learned that
Yes.
early on, and I was
Yes.
able to practice that because I did that with some of our paraeducators that shouldn't have been paraeducators.
Yes.
I documented,
Oh, sure.
I had the conversations, I
Sure.
documented them, we did plans.
Yep.
Yeah.
And why you take that time and that money
Mm-hmm.
and you invest it in a proactive
Yes.
sense to make sure you get the right person
Yes.
in the beginning and not pay for it in the
Yes.
back end.
Yeah.
I mean, not that you're always in control of that because you inherit some
Yep,
people
absolutely.
from time to time.
But that is definitely something that I have a lot of experience in interviewing and hiring, but not anything in a research-based or systematic approach to ensure you're hiring well.
I would highly recommend that
Absolutely.
you get all the training you can in those
Yes,
areas.
because I see how important it is.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's definitely an area that I would want to grow in.
Yeah.
Vital.
Yeah, we're seeing more and more schools invest in those style profiles and
Mhm.
other
Mhm.
techniques and tools.
But you're right about the thing of somebody hiring them without doing, now
Shocks me.
today, that would be a little bit unusual because we really got pretty good systems for doing background checks and
Mhm.
getting information.
Except for the person has to sign a release. So, we were agency, we were AEA school. They had to sign a release of information to the agency for my administrator to share information about them. Otherwise, all she could say was, here's when they started, here's when they
But
ended.
you know what?
Right.
After a while, as an administrator, you're able to read,
Read between the lines. Yep.
She's
it's
a very
what
good
they're,
organizer.
it's what they're not.
Keeps her filing cabinets
Yeah,
really
right.
neat.
Yeah. What they're not saying.
Well,
and
yeah.
what they're
Yeah, and you're also, because of the connections that you have, you're able to get a lot more information, even though that
Oh,
person
yes.
maybe isn't supposed to be giving you that information. I think we probably talked about that in class.
Yep. Absolutely.
Right.
So,
Yeah.
Oh, boy.
yeah.
Dr. Finch, I don't have anything else.
Well, I do appreciate, I really do have enjoyed over 2 years your enthusiasm every time I'm able to. Holy cow. I go home and tell my wife, oh, I'm just tired. We've got several in the program that are this
That's
way.
funny, Lou.
Yeah. Yep.
Did you tell Dr. Finch about your presentation in Sioux City?
I didn't know we hadn't met since then, but I got to go with Dr. Sue to Sioux City and present with her on the Adobe Connect classrooms.
Oh, okay.
It was wonderful. Great.
And we talked
experience.
nonstop to Sioux City.
We did.
Oh, gosh.
Between the two of us, we're like, yeah.
Who was that? Who were you presenting to? Or what was the?
It's the, what was the official, the 2016 statewide Teaching and Learning Conference is intended for all of the 2-year college professors and instructors primarily, but you do see a lot of 4-year instructors and professors go
Sure.
also.
Vicky was the keynote a couple of years ago.
Okay.
Vicky Robinson was the keynote when it was at DMAC.
All right. Was that at Morningside or where
No, it
was
was
it?
at Western Iowa Tech,
Oh, really?
Technical College.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Well, you spent time at Morningside, or you've got work at Morningside.
Yes, I did my.
And we have three
semester
students at in Sioux City right now.
Oh, yeah. Mm-hmm.
Which is kind of nice because we don't get a lot out of Sioux City normally.
Not all, I've had some good ones in Sioux City in the past, but
Excuse me.
they jump across the river. It's kind of like Council Bluffs. They kind of jump across the river. And remember, for a while, Davenport was kind of that
well,
way.
because Western Illinois was offering that ridiculous
but
No.
perk.
But they finally figured out in Davenport that that program is just.
Yeah, now South Dakota's researching reciprocity right now. And Wisconsin already has the Tri-State Initiative, so everybody's trying to get a bite of the Iowa student,
Right.
aren't they?
Yep.
They're on those contiguous
Yeah, they are.
borders.
They are, and the problem is we're not doing the same thing. And
No.
why don't we get all those
We
more of
need
those
to
people?
go.
Well, because I think why should they come down from Minnesota and
Yeah.
pay
Well, and
twice as
as
much?
Christy and I found out, our audience that day was very interested in Adobe Connect because many of them were not doing anything other than
Oh,
face-to-face.
sure.
And Adobe Connect is very expensive, so they were
It is.
considering Zoom and
Zoom and
some
other
other
things.
options as well. But the reality is, I think people recognize today, if you want to be a viable offerer of educational experiences at this level, one has to have more than just face-to-face opportunities.
Yeah.
Why did you choose UNI? Why did you choose the UNI program?
I love the idea of the Adobe Connect, but just from people who had gotten their administrative degrees had kind of walked me through the differences between UNI and others. And the word on the street was UNI is more rigorous and a little bit, it takes more out of you, but it's worth it. You'll learn a lot more. And so that's...
It is more rigorous. In fact,